with her opening statement.
All right. Well, we are extremely excited to represent Hawkeye Nation here at the Women's Final Four. We know we have an incredible challenge ahead of us, but at the same time, everybody loves an underdog, so hopefully a lot of people will be cheering for us. You know, I've been coming to the Final Four for a long, long time, but my seats are finally going to be pretty good tonight, so I'm excited about that. Excited also about Caitlin obviously being named the AP Player of the Year today. One of my assistants, Coach Jan Jensen, will also be getting the Assistant Coach of the Year award. So a lot of great things happening. I'm just trying to convince my team 40 minutes of basketball and a lifetime of memories, and that's all we have to focus on.
We'll open up for questions for the student athletes. We'll start right here on our right with Doug.
Doug Feinberg, the AP. Caitlin, I know you're a huge fan of basketball, watching it and obviously playing it. When you see that ticket prices for the women's tournaments more than the men's right now, and that there seems to be a much bigger buzz for this tournament, your guys' game, the other game, what does that mean to you know that you're part of a movement that seems to finally be blossoming for women's basketball?
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible. You know, I think it's starting to get, you know, the viewership, the attention, things like that, you know, it deserves. And when people really turn on the TV or sit in the seat, they understand how good the product is and how much fun it is to watch. And, you know, I've loved the game ever since I was a young girl. So I've always seen, you know, how good it is. And I really think, you know, that we have so many good players in our game right now, whether it's WNBA, whether it's at the college level, and people are really starting to figure that out. So I really think sky's the limit. But, you know, I don't know if ticket prices really are as indicative, just because ours is in an actual basketball arena and they're playing in a you know, football stadium, so I don't know really how much that affects it, but I still think it shows the demand of, you know, people want to be here and be in this arena that seats 20,000 people. So more than anything, I'm just lucky, and we're just lucky that we get to play on this stage in front of so many people that, you know, love the game and want to watch our game.
Nancy?
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Two questions. First of all, for Caitlin, following up on that, a lot to talk about this game in particular, and you know there are people who are mad that it's not a championship game, that it's a semifinal game. What does that say about the women's game and the fact that you do have people that are that passionate that they're, you know, arguing and mad about that? And then for Gabby and Monica, do you have a favorite memory of Caitlin, like shooting or like a specific game that she did something very Caitlin-like?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, really good for our game. You know, I think even, you know, the conversations about Player of the Year, conversations about Coach of the Year, conversations about who's playing on the floor, I think that's really good. I think people need to realize, you know, how many tremendous players there are in our game, how many tremendous coaches there are in our game, and I think we're lucky enough, you know, we play in the Big Ten. I believe that's the best conference in America. We've been lucky enough to play against some of the best players, you know, Diamond Miller, Mackenzie Holmes. You can make a long list of really, really talented players that we have played, and we've played against the National Coach of the Year. We'll have some people have said, obviously Coach Staley won the Naismith one yesterday, and you know I saw Coach Morin was named the AP Coach of the Year today, so congratulations to her as well. I thought Indiana had a tremendous year, but I think just finding confidence in that. You know, we've gone up against some really tremendous teams. Obviously, we know South Carolina is, you know, taller than anybody we've ever played. They haven't lost a game all season, but you know, we're just going to be us and believe that we can win, and you know that's all you can do, and we're going to give it everything we have, and we've enjoyed every second in Dallas, and we want to be playing 2 more basketball games.
Yeah, and I think thinking about like a game where Caitlin does Caitlin, I feel like weird for us because we see her do it all the time at practice, so it's like a treat for when you guys get to see it. But I think Michigan at Michigan last year, just seeing her kind of single-handedly bring us back into that game when we were down. We didn't win it, but we got really close with a limited amount of people. So I think that's when I was like, oh, great, everybody gets to see what I see every single day. So, yeah.
I think my favorite is at home. I think we were playing Ohio State, but she had come down and hit like 3 logo shots in a row, and I remember looking over at Sue Beck with like, what is going on? Like, this girl's crazy. Like, I think it was Ohio State. I'm not really sure who we were playing, but yeah, that was crazy. But I was not surprised.
Question to our right.
Right here, Kaylin, Matthew Shanae from TSN. You talk about the difference in the sizes between the men's and the women's, where they'll be staged. Because this feels like a moment, because this is, you know, Aaliyah Boston, the defending champions, and their team versus you and your team, 2 projected #1 picks in the WNBA draft, is this maybe the perfect stage to maybe show the NCAA that the women's Final Four should be staged in the same kind of event space as the men's?
Yeah, lucky I'm not the one that has to make those decisions. Hopefully, I'm just the one that gets to play on the Final Four. But yeah, I think there's very high demand for this basketball game, and even Virginia Tech versus LSU, and so a lot of teams that are new to the Final Four. Obviously, us and Virginia Tech haven't been here in a while, and I think more than anything, we're just really grateful. I don't care. We could be playing in a high school gym, and I would be just as happy to get to play in the Final Four. So, I don't really care where it's played. I'm happy we get to play in the Mavs Stadium. I think that's pretty cool. It might almost be better to play in a basketball arena than a football arena too. I don't know. I think maybe it'd be easier to shoot. I don't know. So I don't think it really bothers me, but I think it definitely shows how much the game is growing and how high of a demand there is for people to want to get into the door to this game. And a lot of people are going to turn it on TV too if they couldn't make it down here to Dallas. So I think we're just grateful more than anything.
Question to our left.
Gabe Ibrahim, her hoop stats. This one's for Monica and Caitlin. You two carry the offensive load for this team, but over the last week, I'd say Gabby and McKenna have been playing some of the best basketball they've played all season. How does that open up the floor for you guys when they're hitting all their shots?
Oh, it's tremendous. People kind of have to pick their poison. They can really clog the paint. And then we have Gabby, McKenna, Caitlin, who are really doing their thing out there. Or they can choose to kind of respect them and their game and then leave me a little bit more open. So just seeing the work that they've put in all throughout our career here. I mean, we've played 90-plus games together, seeing them in the gym all the time, seeing those shots go down in a game. It makes me happier to see their shots go in than my own, truly. So it's so great for our team. It really opens everything up for me individually. But it's just, we're peaking at the right time.
Sorry. Kareem Copeland, Washington Post. This one's for you, Caitlin. You've gotten as much attention as anyone in the country this year, deservedly so. Have you been able to relish it? Do you enjoy it? Has it gotten old or overwhelming, or how have you kept it from not being too much?
Yeah, I think, I'm lucky enough to have a support system around me that, kind of, keeps me humble, keeps me grounded. I get picked on the most more than anybody on our team, but I'm not really on social media that much, and I think that helps a lot too. And I've just tried to enjoy every single second. This is the most fun time I've had playing basketball this year, and I think that's why the product has been so good for myself and this team, is because, I'm just going out there and having fun and enjoying what I do. It's not to win an award. It's not for our team to hoist trophies. I think that has all come because we've played with the same, love of the game that we've had since we were young girls. And, I mean, I'm going to enjoy every single second of it. I've tried to enjoy every single second of it. I think, it's hard for it to set in right now because I'm so focused on continuing to play basketball and continue to win basketball games. But I think, after the season's over, I'll be able to reflect and really enjoy, everything this team's been able to do together. And, we've had two really good seniors that are going to be leaving us. So I'm just trying to enjoy every second I get with them because it's been 3 really special years of us getting to play together as well.
Cassandra Negley with Yahoo Sports. For Gabby and Monica, what was the experience like yesterday being there to support Caitlin at the Naismith? But then also you have South Carolina and their team right there supporting their candidate.
Yeah, it was really special to get to be there and support her. I mean, there's no one more deserving of that award. I mean, the work she puts in and day out, it's unreal. And I think the passion and competitiveness and joy she plays with is what really makes people want to watch her. And I think people are seeing that and just seeing what she's doing day in and day out and the performances that she's putting on and the impact she's had on this team. And she kind of put us on the map, So I think there's really no one more deserving of that award. I'm just glad we were all allowed to be there. I mean, whoever else was there, we were just worried about Caitlin. So, yeah.
Retweet.
We're going to stay to our far back.
Hi. Lakin Littman with Fox Sports. Caitlin, when did you first start shooting logo threes? And for Gabby and Monica, what was your first memory of seeing Caitlin do that, and what's it like to play with someone who can do that?
Honestly, I don't know if I really did it in high school too much. I don't know. Coach Bluter watched me a lot in high school, so maybe she can comment too. but obviously, I usually played on a smaller court in high school, so I didn't have as much room to work. But I don't know. I think it's kind of come with, harder defenses, spacing them out more, getting stronger in the weight room. My shot mechanics don't change when I back up. And, that's a shot I go and practice all the time. Like when I'm in the gym working on my game and getting shots up, like I'm shooting shots from back there. It's not like I just get in the game and just start launching and they somehow go in. Sometimes it might seem like that, but, those are shots I practice and, I shoot them in practice too. So I think it, all just stems from the confidence of the work I've put in. But honestly, I would say like it's more so, come with being in college more than anything.
Yeah, I feel like in like summer scrimmages, you kind of play a little bit freer basketball because nobody's really watching you. You're just you and your team having fun. And I feel like I remember seeing the progression of like slowly she would just keep shooting them from further back and they would keep going in. But yeah, I've seen her in the gym. Like I've walked in and she's shooting at the logo. I'm like, oh, she must be having fun. And it's like, no, she's like on the gun shooting from there. So it was really special to see that in practice and scrimmaging against her for the first time. I knew she was going to be a very special basketball player.
Yeah, she's been doing that since her first college game, so.
We're going to stay to our left.
Jacob Phillips, the Daily Gamecock. For you, Monica, obviously South Carolina, really physical in the paint. They crash the board, score a lot of points there. Just what can you say about them, and what have you been doing to prepare for this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, they have a great inside presence. I feel like they always have. Both of their bigs are so good. The fact that they bring that size and presence off the bench is kind of unreal. But I think that I'm really lucky to have played in the Big Ten, and even for our journey on this, playing Georgia, playing Colorado, who also have very big, strong physical posts. It's kind of prepared me the best way it could for this game. But I truly think at this point in my career, having played for 5 years, I've played against so many different style of post players, so many different physicality levels that I'm really excited for this opportunity. I think it's going to be really fun. I love going against really great centers. I think it makes me better. It makes everybody better. So more than anything, I'm just very excited to play the game.
To our front on the right-hand side.
Kyle Huesman, Hawkeye Report. Starting with you, Caitlin. This game's kind of been billed as you against Aaliyah a little bit because of the Player of the Year debate. Can you just talk about the role that your teammates around you are gonna have tomorrow to try to pull off the upset, and then for Monica and Gabby, what do you guys kind of have to do to be able to make sure that you are contributing at your highest level in the biggest game of the season to make sure that you can help Caitlin as well because you guys always talk about a balance throughout to try to this when you're at your best.
Yeah, it's going to be Iowa versus South Carolina, and that's who's going to win the game. It's not going to be one player that's going to win the game. And, I'm lucky enough to have 4 really good teammates on the court with me at the same time. And, I love playing a team sport. I don't think I would like to play an individual sport. And, if the game's not going your way, you're lucky enough to have teammates that you can always rely on and lean back on. And I think we're lucky enough that we've built a culture and a program where we always have each other's backs. And, I feel like Gabby and McKenna, Kate are shooting the basketball really, really well right now. So I feel like that could also pose some problems, and they're going to be all up on us playing really good defense. That's kind of what they hang their hat on, and they're really good at it. So I think it's just relying on one another. There's going to be ups and downs in the game. That's how basketball is played, and we have 5 really good people that are going to be on the floor at the same time. So we're going to need to use one another, and everybody's going to have to contribute.
Yeah, I would just say going in there knowing it's going to be a battle, it's going to be physical, just being able to value the ball, and then obviously we're going to have to knock down some outside shots to take some pressure off Caitlin and just make them spread out, and I think one thing for me, like, that never wavers in the game is my defense. It's one thing I can always control, my energy and my effort on defense, so I think that's going to be huge in this upcoming game.
Yeah, and we've gotten this far by just being ourselves, stepping into our roles, and just doing what we know how to do, so we don't have to change that for this game. We have the number 1 offense, so just kind of ride with that, keep that going, but we got where we are being who we are, so we just need to keep doing that.
Question to our left.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports again. For Monica and Gabby, would you agree that Caitlin is the most picked on player on your team, and if so, why?
Yes.
Because it's just so easy to. I mean, she's just so loud, and like when she comes at you, you want to go right back, But she's just like goofy, silly, so it's just easy. She takes jokes very well.
Yeah,
so.
She's one of the biggest personalities on our team, so it's so easy to kind of fire them right back at her. She gives it back too. Don't get that twisted.
We're staying to our left.
Lauren of Valley Sports. I'm curious, just as the game has grown, who you guys looked up to, who were in the same seats that you guys are sitting in today, and how they had kind of helped you think about the game differently, how you want to be a part of the change moving forward?
I was just actually looking at my Snapchat memories, and I was at the games where Arike hit the 2 buzzer beaters, and Kobe was in the gym and everything, and I was with my AAU team, and I was just like thinking about how I was always like, wow, I want to be them one day, like, and now I'm here, and it's just so special. Like, it still gives me the chills just to think about how that was my dream, you know, and now people are looking up to us, and they want to be us. And I just think it's such a special moment. It's bigger than the game at that point, you know. So I think just soaking it all in and just knowing that people are looking up to us, and we were once looking up to those girls, and I think it's just awesome to think about.
Yeah, I loved Maya Moore. She was always my favorite player growing up when she was at UConn, and even when she was with the Lynx. And obviously, you know, that's the closest WNBA team to the state of Iowa, so that's always who I rooted for, and that's the first ever WNBA game I went to. My dad took me, and they played the Seattle Storm, so I got to see Sue Bird too, which was pretty cool. So that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can think of a specific player. I watched a lot of Lynx growing up, being from Minnesota too. Like, Lindsay Whalen was a god in Minnesota, truly. But I just remember kind of idolizing every single person and just seeing them and thinking how cool their lives were and how fun they were to watch and stuff. And to be up here as one of those people, it's a really full circle moment.
We'll take our final question for the student athletes up front.
Susan Harmon, HawkFanatic.com. Actually, my question has a lot to do with what you were just talking about. I wondered how you envisioned appearing at the Final Four, and then what it's really been like for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a dream come true, truly. Being able to go to all these events that we've been able to. I mean, just being with my team for extra basketball, too. Getting the opportunity to hang out with them in Dallas. Getting the opportunity to play another basketball game with them. It's really surreal. It feels like the season, but even best case scenario, is ending really soon, and it doesn't feel quite real. So, I mean, just the opportunity to be here with my team, that's all I could have asked for.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is, you know, everything you kind of dream of since you were a little kid. And my mom texted me last night. She was like, I feel like I'm kind of stuck in your dream that you wanted to do when you were 7 years old. So it's pretty special, and I'm just trying to enjoy every single second of it. And, you know, we've been lucky enough to, you know, be together for 3 years, and to go out kind of in this way and accomplish what we wanted to accomplish is pretty special. And, you know, we believe while we're here we can win 2 more basketball games, and that is certainly our goal. And like Mon said, we just don't want to have to not come to practice the next day. I don't think a lot of people would probably say that, but like, we really enjoy, you know, being with each other, and I think that's carried us a long way.
I feel the same as both of them.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll open up for questions from Coach. We'll start with Doug.
Hey, Coach. Doug Feinberg, DAP. Two-part question. The first one is, I know you said you got a text from Vivian right after you guys advanced. Had you talked to her since then? And has it also sunk in that Iowa's here for the first time in 30 years, and you obviously know all the history of the program from your time there and before that, what it means to have Iowa back on this national stage?
Well, Doug, it wasn't a text. It was a voice message, which tells you the age of both of us. Who leaves voice messages anymore? But I love voice messages because you can hear the enthusiasm in their voice versus reading it on a text. And she definitely had a lot of enthusiasm. You know, her love for the Hawks is strong. And I'm thankful. You were talking about mentors and, you know, for the players. See, Vivian was certainly one of mine. So I'm very, you know, thankful to have her support. You know, as the last person that took this team to a Final Four, and that really means a lot. You know, to take our team back here, you know, sometimes as a coach, when you're at some place for so long, it does get a little old, and you think, well, it's been since '93 since they've been in the Final Four. So yes, it feels good to be able to be back here again, absolutely. But it's always the people that you're around, and to me, this group of women are special, and that's what makes the year special to me.
Maggie Hendricks with Bally Sports. You just had a couple players say that they are really glad they get to go to the Final Four because they get to continue to go to practice, which to me is amazing. So what does that say about the environment that you've created here?
You know, we love being around each other. We really do. You know, we kind of joked about that, you know, we came straight from Seattle. We didn't go home. And so we've been on the road together for 2 weeks right now. And we've enjoyed every minute of it. And if you didn't like the people you were around, this would be a chore. It would not be much fun. But when you trust the people that you're around, when you have respect for them, when you know they're doing their job, it's such a comforting feeling, and you don't want it to end. This has been a fun season for us, and so, yeah, we do not want it to end.
We're going to stay to our left.
Nancy Armour, USA Today. Lisa down here. Coaches tend to be, I'll put this nicely, control freaks, whereas Caitlin seems like she needs a lot of freedom. And I'm wondering when you realize that and what that has been like the first time that she pulled up and, you know, whether it was in practice or a game and took a logo shot, like what was your response and how has that process kind of worked itself out?
Yeah, I mean, her freshman year, I definitely had some times I was pulling my hair out. There's no doubt about it. She had to learn how to play with other players that were good players. You know, in high school, she had to do it all on her own. And, you know, I remember going to her high school games, as she said, and kids yelling overrated to her from the stands, and I just would love to see them today. But, you know, honestly, she did test us her freshman year. And so we had to learn. It was give and take. It wasn't all like us controlling what she did, because I think when you try to stifle somebody like that, you're ruining a little bit of the type of player they are. I mean, what she does on her own is special. And I think if you were trying to tell her exactly, you know, what a good shot is, because what a good shot for her is totally different than what a good shot for somebody else is. And so she has a little separate set of rules, quite honestly, than other people, because she can do things other people can't do. But yeah, we had to get her to understand how to play within a system a little bit without putting out the fire of being Caitlin Clark.
We're staying to our left.
Gabe Erum, her Hoop Stats. Congrats on being here, Coach. I have a question about scouting and game planning. What's your preference in terms of, do you like watching the most recent games of a team? Do you like watching them against teams that you think are similar to you? Do you like watching common opponents? And then how do you get that information to your players in a way that they can use it on the court?
All of the above, honestly. We watch recent games. We watch people that play a little bit more like us. Well, we have a common opponent in Maryland, and so we also have common opponents in Georgia, but Georgia plays so differently than us that wasn't a game that we were really going to focus on. You know, we've been watching film with our players now for a couple of days and trying to get them as good a feel, because for right now I think it's like less practice and more mental, more film. You're not going to get better at boxing out right now. You know, I'm not going to go in the gym and teach them a skill like that. What we need to do is be as familiar as we can with our opponent. And that's what makes it hard in the NCAA tournament, because you don't know your opponent as well. When you're going through the Big Ten, you've seen them year after year, same coach, same coaching styles, you know, same players. You know those players so well. In the NCAA tournament, you may only have a couple days to get ready for an opponent, which makes it a lot more difficult. So a lot of film right now that we push to their iPads and they watch on their own, and we watch together as well.
Coach, we're staying on our left-hand side, the back row.
Hi, Lisa. Lakin Lippman with Fox Sports. I believe after the Elite Eight, you said that Caitlin plays better against better opponents, so I'm curious what you're expecting from her tomorrow.
You know, I honestly just want to take the pressure off of Caitlin. I mean, she just came in here and received all these awards this week. She knows a lot of eyes are going to be upon her, and I want everybody else to step up and help carry that weight for her, because that's a lot. It's a lot for a 20-year-old. And so, you know, I'm just going to try to take the focus off of her as much as I can and put it on the rest of my team, because they want to kind of help shoulder that.
Coach, on our right-hand side, the back row.
Russ Steinberg from Boardroom. Just wondering how the strength of the Big Ten this year compares to other years in the time that you've been at Iowa, and how the conference's overall strength helped prepare you and your team for the tournament.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this was the best year for Big Ten women's basketball in a long, long time. I mean, we had 3 out of the 8 in the Elite 8. That's like almost 40%, from the Big Ten Conference. And we have felt all year long that playing in the Big Ten prepared us. Now, again, we haven't played South Carolina yet, but has prepared us in this journey so far. And whatever team that we've played, they tried something different. Well, one of the great coaches that we have in the Big Ten has probably tried it against us already. Some of the unbelievable athletes that we have in the Big Ten have probably done that already to us. So I just think playing in such a strong conference as the Big Ten has helped prepare us for this NCAA journey because we've seen it all.
Coach, to your right-hand side, that front row.
Kyle Huseman, Hawkeye Report. Kind of a two-part question. I asked Caitlin. This game's kind of been built up as kind of a Caitlin Clark versus Aaliyah Boston just because of the National Player of the Year discussions. Does that feel like kind of a slight to both teams just because both teams do have good players around them? And then second part, what do the players around Caitlin on your team have to do tomorrow to make sure that you guys have a chance to win?
Yeah, people compare Caitlin to Aaliyah, and to me that's apples to oranges. It makes no sense. They are completely different players. They're completely different positions. They're both great at what they do, but what they do is different. And so I don't think you can compare the two of them. They both are, contribute so much to their team's success, but, to me it's not Caitlin versus Aaliyah. It's Iowa versus South Carolina, and we have to, continue to remember that. What we need to do to be successful is we have to make sure we box out. We have to make sure that other people are hitting threes and not just Caitlin.
Coach, we're staying to your right-hand side, that second row.
Amanda Kristovich from Front Office Sports. The women's tournament has grown so much in the past few years, but what would you like to see the NCAA continue to invest in at the Final Four specifically so that it grows even more?
Well, the growth this year has been amazing. I'm sure that if they would have had a crystal ball a long time ago, they would have not signed this contract, that we're dealing with today in being undersold for our product. They grouped us with a bunch of other sports, which at the time maybe seemed like a good idea, but with the growth that we've had over the last 10 years, we have shortchanged ourselves. And so I'd like to see that. Obviously, that change coming with the TV contracts. I'd like to see also, teams being paid for their success in the NCAA tournament like we have on the men's side. Athletic directors are going to invest where they get something back from it. I think at Iowa, with our fan base, we've gotten something back from women's basketball. Certainly notoriety, as well as fans in the stands being the second best populated best fan base that we have in the country. But if ADs knew, hey, if my women's team makes the NCAA tournament and I get a little money from that, I think that would help some of them invest if they're not completely vested in women's basketball right now.
Coach, we're going to shift to our final 2 questions on your left-hand side. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Jacob Phillips from the Daily Gamecock. Obviously, when you're playing a team like South Carolina, who's as deep as they are and who can rely on their bench like they can, how does that change your preparation?
It really doesn't change our preparation just because we're not suddenly going to be able to make our team deeper or do things differently. I mean, at this time of year, I think if you start changing things, if you start, you have to tweak things, but if you start making, wholesale changes, you're setting yourself up for failure because that's just, abnormal behavior. And the team is going to recognize that in you and think, uh-oh, something's wrong. If she needs to change all this right now, something's wrong. But you're right. The depth on their team is amazing. Their height on their team is amazing. And obviously they have got tremendous coaches, including a former Iowa Hawkeye, I have to say, Jolette Law, wearing the black and gold. I had to tease her last night to see if she had her black and gold shorts underneath that Gamecock stuff.
Nancy Armour, USA Today. Lisa, this is a follow-up to the question about the growth of the tournament. We're also seeing women athletes be more present socially, like Dawn's doing Aflac commercials with Coach K. We're seeing some women's basketball players doing commercials for Gatorade and other companies. What has it been like to watch that progression, and what does that what kind of message should that send to whether it's the NCAA, athletic directors, even young girls who are, trying to decide if they want to play sports or want to stay in sports?
I mean, you have to be naive right now as an athletic director to not see the growth in women's basketball and the impact that it's having with businesses and with fan base and with corporate sponsorships and such. I mean, I'm going for a walk around the arena a couple days ago, and all of a sudden Dawn's flashing above me, looking down on me, with the Aflac commercial. So it's so good, and these players now with NIL, they understand branding. They understand that they have to create a brand for themselves and that they can be very, have their own businesses and become very profitable from that. Why should that not happen? I think it's a great lesson for them. What college student couldn't learn a lot from that type of a lesson of being able to market themselves? And so, I think it's, I don't know if that answers your question, Nancy, but you'd have to be really living in a dark hole to not realize what's going on with women's basketball right now.
Thank you so much, Coach, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
As a reminder, a recording of this press conference as well as the written transcript will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.gov.